Okay, time for another fidget spinner video. I've got 2 packages from eBay and 3 over here from Amazon that I'm going to open up right here and see what we've got for our next spinners. I'm going to open this one up. And what do we have here? Well, that's very interesting. We have this from FGT MOTORSPORT. And they advertise this one as an asymmetrical spinner. It is very asymmetrical. But it seems to spin without any wobble. Kind of noisy though. This is going to be a fun one. We'll open the other one from eBay. This one's got a lot of packaging wrapped up around it. Oh, that's not even a spinner, that's a scale. So I'm going to put that away. That doesn't count, but luckily I have another package from Amazon I can add in. So here's the first one from Amazon. And it's a bow tie. Heavy brass bow tie, and it's got some kind of a finish on it, some kind of a lacquer. That's pretty nice. That spins well. I'll see what else I can find out about this one. Next package. So we've got 2 so far. This one is coming, this one's coming from China. No, that didn't do it. A lot of packaging, Oh, it's another one of these. So this is another one of those little anime things. Okay, well, we'll take a look at that one. It looks like an actual spinner this time. Let's get our next package. Another one from Amazon. Oh, okay. And this is one of those multicolor spinners. And how about that? It's stuck in the tin. You're going to have to bend the tin to get it out of here. Nice and heavy. Nice and quiet. That seems very nice. Except for the fact that the tin that it came in is not quite big enough for it. And what do we have? We have 4 so far. Let's get one more. Oh, and I think we have several in here. This one says fidget spinner on it, or spinner fidget. Spinner fidget. Oh, and this is the Iron Man thing. And it has an extra button. It's got nice foam packaging, 2 extra buttons, and an extra bearing too. So we can see the bearing this time easily. One of these little guys. This one, when I bought it, I didn't expect it to be very high quality, but the packaging is nice and you get these extras with it. And it feels pretty nice. It's got a little bit of noise to it. Yeah, it's got a lot of noise to it. we'll see about it. Yeah, kind of when you turn it sideways, it kind of catches. I'll see if I can tighten up the caps. Okay, we'll look at that one later. So that's 5. Those are our next 5. Oh, we got this other one that was in the package along with it. And this one looks really nice. And it's heavy. And it's got these little things that screw into the center, which are just like before, they're loose. But this seems to be pretty nice. Spins nicely. Yeah, that's nice. So I have 6 here, and I think I'll just do all 6 this time rather than 5. So I'll play around with these a little bit and see how they come out. We'll be back soon. Okay, it's time to do the subjective ratings on these 6 fidget spinners. The first one up was this Iron Man fidget spinner by, it says Spinner Fidget on the box. Had a bit of an adventure with this. I'll tell you about that. First off, I'm just going to rate the appearance. I think it looks really cool. I'm going to give it about an 8 for appearance. For feel, well, what happened here, when I initially looked at this, it was catching. When you spin it and then turn it, it would catch. And I thought the caps were loose. It turned out the caps weren't loose. I took them off, and what had happened actually is that the bearing will slide back and forth in the fidget spinner. So something's not sized quite right. But if you put it right in the middle and spin it, it'll spin just fine. Now the other issue was that they gave us this extra bearing to go along with it. And the button is a different color. The button is a brass color, more similar to the fidget spinner, so I thought I'd try this bearing out. What I wanted to do was to make sure I was, when I'm testing this, I was using the best bearing. It turns out these are 2 completely different bearings. The one that's in it is entirely different from the extra one they give you, and I wanted to see which one was best, so I cheated a little bit and tested them a little bit, tested each bearing with the air hose to see which one would work better. And it turns out the one that is in the spinner to begin with works better than the extra one they give you. So the extra one's a cheapo compared to the one that's already in there. It's a very significant difference. So I changed it back over, and now we're going with the original bearing, but the caps, the buttons are not, the bearing is not, they're not the same size even, so the caps will not fit, the brass caps will not fit on this bearing, so I have to stick with the silver colored caps. Now the other thing that happened was this thing has these little metal, these red metal pieces, they're crimped onto the main body of the spinner. And when I spun this thing up to speed, one of them came off and shot me in the shoulder, and it did leave a mark and a little bruise. So I couldn't get it to stay on, so I ended up putting some epoxy on there and gluing it back on. And hopefully when I test this thing again, it won't shoot me again. The other 3 seem to be on there pretty tight. I don't think they're going to come off. So for feel of this, it's a pretty typical bar style fidget spinner. And the one bad thing about it is it has these little serrations on the edge, and those kind of scratch your knuckles. So it doesn't have the greatest feel in the world, but the spin is pretty good. So some positives and some negatives, and I'm going to end up giving that about a 5. The perceived quality, it's a lot better than I thought it would be. I thought it would be just a cheapo, but it's actually a nice piece of metal. And a lot went into making this, I can tell. So I'm going to give it a perceived quality of about about a 7. So that will take care of that one. The next one, is this funny looking thing, which spins pretty nicely. I called it the 6 raindrops to begin with, but I came up with a new name for it, because what happens here with this thing, it's nice and heavy and everything, and it seems to spin really well. The problem with it is it grabs your fingers. When you try to spin it, it'll grab your fingers right like that. It's actually hard to spin it with one hand, because half the time it just grabs hold of your finger like that. So it's not a very good design. The appearance of it is great. I think the appearance warrants about a 7. The feel of it, well, it's good in every respect except for the fact that it grabs your finger. So now it's not called the 6 raindrops anymore. It's called the finger grabber, and the feel score is gonna go way down because of that. I'm gonna end up having to give it about a 4. Perceived quality is good. It's well balanced. It seems to be very well made, so I'm gonna give that about a 7 also. That's that one. Now the next one is this guy that doesn't quite fit in its tin. So let me see if I can get this out of here without scratching it. This is a typical tri-spinner. It's got a lot of weight to it. It's very quiet. The appearance of it is very nice. I'm going to say about a 7. The feel, I've got several spinners that have this design, and they'd feel really good. And like I said, the bearing it seems to be very nice. So the feel, I'm going to give this about an 8. Perceived quality, it is heavy, and I don't see any reason to think it's not well made. So I'm going to give that about a 7. Now the next one is this one. This little bow tie, which I think is a knockoff of some name brand company's design. But it spins really well. It's quiet, and it's got a nice finish on it, which makes it feel really good. Your fingers don't hang up on it anywhere. So the appearance of it, I'd say, it's not the prettiest thing in the world. So I'm going to say probably about a 5. The feel is really good. I'm going to say about a 7. Perceived quality, it's brass, solid brass. The bearing's not making a lot of noise or anything, and it seems to work really well. So the perceived quality, I'm going to say about a 7. And the last one, no, it's not the last one, the second to last one. That's this one here, this anime thing. I looked this one up, and they said that they claim it's made of titanium on Amazon, where I bought it. I'm not sure if that is actually titanium or some cheaper metal. It's how does it look? Well, it's a triangle with little knife blades on the end of it. I think it looks kind of goofy, and it's got plastic caps. I'm going to say about a 4 on appearance. The feel, well, you can spin it okay. It's not a problem there. It's a little bit noisy, not too much. The problem is, if you spin this thing fast and you stop it with one of these points, you're going to get poked in the finger. So again, you got a little bit of minor danger element here. Not a great way to build one of these things, I don't think. So the feel is not very good. I'm going to say about a 5. Perceived quality, well, it's got a plastic button, and they claim it's made of titanium. It doesn't really feel like it's all that great. So the perceived quality is not very good. I'm going to say about a 4 on that. And then our last one is this interesting thing from FGT Motorsports, this asymmetrical spinner. This thing is actually pretty strange. It's kind of weird. The first thing about it, it has a flat cap on it, so it's not the easiest to hold. It doesn't have a concave cap, which would be nicer, I think. And it's made of aluminum, so it's really light. The appearance, what do you say about the appearance? It's machined, and it's machined aluminum. A little bit rough around the edges. Not too bad, though. It looks pretty strange, but I think I like the look. So I'm going to say about the appearance, about a 7. The feel, it feels strange. It does. It's because it's asymmetrical. It lands differently every time, and it does spin evenly. They did get the center of mass of this, so I'm not sure why more people don't make asymmetrical spinners. It'll work with almost any shape. You just have to get the center of the bearing in the center of mass. But the feel of this, it's kind of fun to play with just because it's so different. So I'm going to say about a 7. Perceived quality, the biggest negative is the fact that it's made of aluminum and it's really light. It's not heavy at all, so I don't think it's going to have a very long spin duration. And it has flat button. The perceived quality, it's probably about a 6. And that was the last one, so we'll get on to the testing. Okay, each fidget spinner is going to get 6 trials with 8 seconds of air blast, and here goes the first one. Here goes the multicolor tri-spinner. And here goes the bow tie. Here goes the triangle knife. I'm scared. Now we're going to fire up the asymmetrical fidget spinner. Okay, so we're going to do the wrap up on these 6, which became 5 fidget spinners. The first one to get out of the way is the Iron Man spinner. Now this thing, it flew apart again while I was testing it. I managed to get one spin out of it before it flew apart. It ran for 7 minutes and 37 seconds, which was very good. So it's got a very good spin duration. But on the second time I tried to do it, one of the red pieces flew off again, and I lost it. I can't find it. So this thing is out of commission. Is this a problem with the spinner? You know, if you're just spinning it with your finger like you're supposed to, it probably won't become a problem. It's only when you get some idiot who likes to spin up fidget spinners with an air hose that an issue develops. But I did start to think that maybe if you drop this thing and it hits the floor at the right angle, then these red pieces could become dislodged and throw the thing off balance. So that could become a problem. So it's pretty much disqualified. I did get it on eBay. It was $26.68, and it weighs 54 grams, and it's mostly apparently made of brass, and I think it's their own design. So we'll just get rid of this one. I couldn't do much with it. Next up, we have this guy, the finger grabber. It got a low score because it likes to get your finger, grab hold of your finger between the spokes. It had an average spin time of 5 minutes and 10 seconds, which qualified it as a superior. It did have a knock in the bearing, which was very prominent while it was spinning vertically. It didn't happen so much when it was horizontal, but it did when it was vertical. So it didn't get very good duration when it was vertical. The mean variability was 29.5 seconds, and with an average subjective score of 6, it got an overall score of 6.5, which qualifies it for a good rating. The next one is this multicolor TRISPINNER, which came in the box that it doesn't quite fit in. This one actually had a average spin time of 6 minutes and 58 seconds, and it didn't seem to matter what position it was held in, vertical or horizontal, one side or the other. It got very good spin time, which qualified it for a score of 9 on the duration score, and it got a subjective score of 7.33 because it looks really nice and it seems to be good quality. So it got an overall score of 7.78, which qualifies it as very good. So this is the one that really stood out. The good thing about this is it's quite a deal. I got it on Amazon for only $12.88. It weighs 68 grams. Seems to have a very good bearing in it, and it's a knockoff of a pretty common design. I'll try to put the link for this in the comments section below the video, so if you want to go pick one of these up, it's a very good deal for $12.88. It's being sold by a company called MERMAKER. I don't know if they're making it, but they're selling it, so that's a good one to pick up. The next one is this little bow tie here. It's being sold by a company called MULTICOLOR on Amazon. It got an average spin duration of 4 minutes and 17 seconds. It did a little bit worse, actually about a minute worse overall horizontally than vertically. It doesn't like to run that way too much, but it was okay on its side either way. It's a slight bit unbalanced, not much, just a little bit, but it showed up. It got an average spin duration of 4 minutes and 17 seconds with a mean variability of 41 seconds. So the variability is mostly due to the fact that it doesn't run so well when it's being held vertically. So it had a subjective rating of 6.33, and it scored a 6. Very good on the spin duration for an overall score of 5.4, which qualifies it as average. The the good thing about this is it was very cheap. I could pick this up on Amazon for $4.49. It weighs 17 grams, and I believe it's a knockoff of some other company's design, and it's brass. But I'll put the link also. That's for $4.49. You really can't go wrong with that. It is a fairly heavy piece. And it ran pretty well. This was just a little bit unbalanced. Next is what I'm calling the triangle knife. This unusual little novelty spinner. At least it was a spinner, unlike some of these other ones. And this is the one that flew out of the jig at one point. It didn't run very well. It got only an average spin duration of only 1 minute and 23 seconds with a mean variability of 45 seconds. It really did not like to run vertically. It doesn't have a good duration at all when it's held vertically. And there's also a difference from if you're holding it one way versus the other. It got an average subjective score of 4.33 and mean variability of 45 seconds for an overall score of 2.42, which qualifies it for being junk. So we'll put that one away. It's not very useful for anything. The last one is this interesting asymmetrical fidget spinner from FTG MOTORSPORT. I believe it came right from the company. I think they're making these themselves. It is well balanced, no problem there. The bearing doesn't seem to be the greatest in the world, and it's very light. It's made of aluminum. It's got these brass balls in it, but it still only weighs 38 grams, which caused a big problem. It doesn't run very long, unfortunately. Didn't seem to matter too much how it was held. It was a little bit worse being held vertically than horizontally, but it only ran for an average of 1 minute and 21 seconds, which is kind of a yawn. You know, that's not a very good duration score. Got an average subjective rating of 6.67 for an overall score of 4.9, which kind of qualifies it as a yawn. It is kind of fun to get one though. The bad part is it costs $29.99, so it was a little bit pricey for what you're getting here. So just to goof around with it's kind of worth it, but I don't know about $30. So it is a genuine original from this company, and it's made of aluminum and brass. And that is about it. So the standout was this one, this fairly heavy tri-spinner, which is quite a deal at $12 and something. All right, we'll see you later.